KLF in Karachi 2010 2010 से पहले कराची के हालात politically बहुत unstable थे.
I decided that my timings are not 9 to 5. And what I did was my personal life and my official life sort of overlapped.
Who would like to make it into the big world, तो उनको इतना encouragement family की तरफ से भी नहीं मिलता है, society की तरफ से भी नहीं मिलता है.
But in those days, it wasn't difficult going to India, and I would visit now and then. So I was lucky that I spent a lot of time with her.
Let's look at the good side of Pakistan from the lenses of the teachers, the doctors, the explorers and the homemakers, the people who make Pakistan Pakistan. Catch me every week as we talk to different people and learn from their experiences so that we can work on building a better future because stories matter. Assalamu alaikum Pakistan, and to all the lovely Pakistanis everywhere, Adab. Welcome to the good side, jahan par we meet amazing individuals who are contributing to Pakistan and making Pakistan Pakistan. Today, आज का दिन बहुत स्पेशल है. क्यों स्पेशल है? बिकॉज आई हैव समबडी विद मी जिनको ये एजाज़ हासिल है कि शी हैज़ बीन द फर्स्ट मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर ऑफ अ मल्टीनेशनल फॉर मोर देन 30 years. 30 साल. पाकिस्तान के लिए बहुत सारी बातें करते हैं लोग कि पाकिस्तान में ऐसा है, पाकिस्तान में वैसा है, औरतों के लिए कोई काम करने की जगह नहीं है या उनको वो अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ नहीं है. बट शी इज़ डन इट. और अभी नहीं, आज से कई साल पहले early 80s में she started her struggle. She has received OBE, Order of British Empire, from the Queen in UK. इनको पाकिस्तानी एजाज़ भी हासिल है. सितारा इम्तियाज़ मिल चुका है हमारे सदर पाकिस्तान से. फ़्रांस से इनको एजाज़ मिल चुका है. ये सारी बातें हम इनसे ख़ुद पूछेंगे और तफसील जानेंगे. आई डोंट वांट टू हैव यू वेट एनी लॉन्गर विद ऑल द डिटेल्स ऑफ इंट्रोडक्शन. के साथ साथ हम बात करते जाएंगे, सुनते जाएंगे. सो लेट्स मीट द ग्रेट अमीना सैयद. अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
वालेकुम सलाम.
कैसी हैं अमीना आप?
जी बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक.
First of all, thank you so much for taking out the time for us and being here, and I'm so looking forward to hearing to your life journey and for providing us with an opportunity जहाँ हम young लोगों को बता सकें कि इस वतन में हम सब कुछ कर सकते हैं, provided you have the passion and the grit to do so. Let's start with Ameena Appa because I can't wait personally. सबसे पहले तो मुझे ये बताइए कि आपका सफ़र ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी प्रेस कैसे, कब, कहाँ शुरू हुआ? Your struggles with Oxford University Press. Right now you are with Lightstone Publications. She has KLF to her credit. इसकी बुनियाद अमीना ने रखी है. अदब फेस्टिवल which is round the corner.
जी जी.
नवंबर में होने वाला है. उसकी बुनियाद अमीना आपा ने रखी है. बहुत सारे यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के बोर्ड ऑफ मेंबर्स में ये शामिल हैं. हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी, IOBM, सिंध मदरसतुल इस्लाम. एंड सबसे अहम कंट्रीब्यूशन मुझे जो कि लगता है जिसका ज़िक्र काबिल सताइश है वो ये कि पब्लिकेशंस जो अमीना ने करवाई हैं यहाँ पर बच्चों के लिए अदब चिल्ड्रन फेस्टिवल की बुनियाद रखी है. और वो पब्लिकेशंस को सामने लाना, उनको प्रमोट करना, ऑथर्स को वो ड्यू क्रेडिट देना और पढ़ने वालों के लिए पढ़ने का सामान मुहैया करना. दिस इज़ अमेजिंग. तो अमीना आपा, लेट्स स्टार्ट. प्लीज़ हमें बताइए OUP का सफ़र और वहाँ के स्ट्रगल्स. आपके पास आई एम श्योर बहुत सारी कहानियाँ होंगी.
जी बिल्कुल सारा. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी.
Pleasure.
And actually I've had a very interesting and a very long time at Oxford University Press. I wasn't always a managing director. I became the managing director in 1988.
Okay.
But before that, I was living in Lahore, and I was working at a lower level in Lahore. But because in those days OUP was very small, it didn't have as many staff as they had now. I mean, when I left. So I was given the area of the entire Punjab and the then known as the frontier, KP, to cover. So I had to travel a lot. And I had some very interesting experiences during that. I mean, for example, but I have to tell you that it was safe in those days. In the 80s, women could travel alone. I would take a train from Lahore to Peshawar, and I would take a rickshaw from the train station to a hotel, which is not an expensive hotel because we didn't have the budget. And I would stay there alone. And that is something that you can't really imagine now. For a young woman, I mean, I was young then in the 80s, for a young woman to travel to Peshawar and stay alone. So, I mean, on the one hand, there was this kind of freedom and safety. On the other hand, there was the conservatism in Peshawar. I mean, I would go to the
book
bazaar in Peshawar and meet booksellers, because my job was to make presentations of Oxford books to them, to get them to order them, to put them in their bookshops. And they used to be shocked to see a woman, because I was wearing my normal Karachi clothes. And so much so they wouldn't even ask me to sit. They would say, just, send a man. I said, no, if you want to do business, you have to work with me. So they would say, all right, you just tell us what you want, which books you have. And I would do that. They wouldn't ask me to sit. But, I continued going there. And somehow, I think they felt that, all right, she's not so dangerous. I think they relaxed a bit.
You were not threatening to them. Okay.
A young woman turning up. Finally, they actually asked me to sit, and they offered me kava. So there was that change that took place.
How long did that take?
I think it took 2 or 3 years, I would say.
2 or 3 years?
Of regular visits.
Okay. So did you face these kind of hindrances only in Peshawar? Because क्या आपके पास, because वो area ही वही आपके पास थे, Peshawar, NWFP in Punjab. Karachi में
well, Karachi was later. I faced it in Lahore as well.
Okay.
Something similar. When they told me that, go and send somebody. And I mean, that was really funny. I walked into the office. I think he was a principal of a college or something. And he just stood up as if he'd seen a ghost. And he said, whatever work you want will be done, but send a man. And he actually ran out of the back.
Or where was this?
This was in Lahore.
Lahore.
Can you imagine? But having said that, I should say that I also had to visit a lot of schools to promote our books. And most of these schools had headmistresses or principals who were women. So they would welcome me with open arms. So, in many schools, actually, they didn't want to meet men. So there I had free access. So that was the advantage. But I can't really think of any such experience that I had in Karachi, except, actually, in a way, I had it at OUP when I became the chief executive. Then a lot of the men who were in senior positions, they could not accept the fact that our boss is a woman. And so that was an issue.
Okay.
And actually, they started betting among themselves that we'll make it so difficult for her that she'll leave in 6 months. And somebody said, well, maximum a year she'll stay.
Really?
And they actually made things difficult. They would hide information, they would hide files, they wouldn't cooperate with me, thinking that I'll just throw in the towel. But that is a lesson I've learned: never throw in the towel. You have to persist. So all of them lost their bets, because instead of 6 months or a year, I was there for 30 years.
Seriously.
So
Mashallah, mashallah. Yeah. Amazing. Acha, Ameena Appa, I personally feel that in our society, women who are trying to strive or who have a passion to prosper or are a bit क्या कहें क्या लफ्ज़ मैं इस्तेमाल करूँ who would like to make it into the big world तो उनको इतना encouragement फैमिली की तरफ से भी नहीं मिलता है, सोसाइटी की तरफ से भी नहीं मिलता है और ऑब्वियसली जिस मकसद के लिए वो बाहर निकलते हैं जैसा आपने बताया तो वहीं पे कुछ लोग आ जाते हैं who try and just pull your leg. तो what do you say on that? What's your take on that or your experience on that? Family, society and obviously workplace का तो आपने बताया.
जी. Well, actually, I must say I was lucky. I had a lot of support from my family. Which was good. I mean, so much so that, my mother, my husband would look after the children when I had to travel or go. So I had that support. And there was also encouragement. So I wasn't, but I always had this sense of guilt myself. It wasn't that they made me feel guilty.
That I'm missing out on my motherhood or...
Yes. I mean, I didn't like leave, but I found a solution for that also.
Okay.
What I did was, I decided that my timings are not 9 to 5. And what I did was my personal life and my official life sort of overlapped. So if my child was ill, I would stay at home. I would take the day off, stay at home with my child. And if I had to have a business meeting or if I had to work in the evening or on weekends, I would do that. So this kind of overlap between, I didn't create a barrier between personal and... So that sort of made it easier for me. I was able to achieve my, deadlines and targets. Because although sometimes I would take the day off, sometimes I would work on a holiday. So that worked well.
Acha, during all these 30 years with OUP, is there any one specific incident or experience that आप ये कह सकते हैं कि वो नाकाबिल फरामोश था या ये कि any people you met or जहाँ पे आपको लगा हो कि I can never forget something like that कुछ ऐसा because 30 years is a long time to spend
yes.
in a company or for doing something in growing with the company. मतलब I think you literally grew OUP के साथ and आपने जैसा कहा कि आप एकदम से MD नहीं बनी हैं तो वो accomplishment step by step must have been happening. So any experience?
Well, I think there were many because over 30 years. I think what I enjoyed most of all, because I was publishing books and I was dealing with authors and all kinds of authors. And that was something that I enjoyed most of all. Because, I met people, I interacted, worked with people like Fahmida Riaz, Ismat Chughtai, who visited Pakistan. And I was so thrilled that she's here from India. I actually organized an evening with Ismat Chughtai. So interacting with people like that, and of course many other authors whom, hundreds of authors whom I published. I mean, that was for me the most exciting, the most learning experience.
I'm sure. Because
I would learn so much from their insights in just dealing with them, spending time with them, which you inevitably do. Shirbaz Mazari Sahab, and Jamshed Makar, Mr. Jamshed Makar. These people were giants. And
Ameena, sorry मैं बात काट रही हूँ, but you belong to a literary family yourself. Your mother, Nafisa Phuphi, she used to write and she was an amazing woman, woman of substance, I must say, कि पूरे ख़ानदान को एक साथ लेके चलना, फिर लिखना लिखाना और उनकी poetry. I forgot to bring that book जिसमें आपने उनकी सारी शायरी को compile किया है. Then you have Qurratul Ain Haider.
बिल्कुल my khala.
बिल्कुल तो वो भी तो इस आपके लिए support
that was an enormous support and a source of inspiration for me.
True.
I mean, my mother's book Mera Paigam Hai Mohabbat, that's in which the introduction has been written by Qurratul Ain Haider. She wrote poetry and as you said, she would organize gatherings of the family. She wanted the family to remain united and together. And she would read poems at this. But and also having Quratullah and Heather as my khala, although she was living in India. But in those days, it wasn't difficult going to India, and I would visit now and then. So I was lucky that I spent a lot of time with her. I would stay with her.
I remember my husband also worked in OUP for a while.
That's right.
When he came back from the US. तो OUP की तरफ से उनको इंडिया जाने का मौका मिला OUP के ही काम से. And he went to Agra and Delhi and all these places. And और मैं पाकिस्तान में बैठ के आई वॉज ब्रूडिंग इन सल्किंग मुझे भी जाना था और मेरे मुंह में पानी आ रहा था कि मुझे इंडिया जाना है. एंड ऑब्वियसली वो तो ऑफिशियली गए थे. एंड ही मेट विद एनी पुप्पी देयर एंड लॉट्स ऑफ रिलेटिव्स हुआ देयर. एंड इंडिया इज़ अमेजिंग. बहुत खूबसूरत जगह है. आर्ट एंड लिटरेचर में बहुत उनका जो है वो दे हैव अपॉर्चुनिटीज़. वहाँ रोज़ाना ड्रामे, अल्लाह का शुक्र है पाकिस्तान में भी आर्ट्स काउंसिल की बदौलत हमें और नापा के जरिए हमें जुनैद ज़ुबैरी has really done remarkable.
He's done wonderful work. Yes. And so has Ahmad Shah.
Ahmad Shah, no doubt. My son is a fan of Ahmad Shah. आप कहीं नाम ले लें उनका, Ahmad Shah का ये काम, Ahmad Shah का वो काम. Anyhow, हम drift कर गए अपने टॉपिक्स के. But this was really worth sharing. Order of British Empire by the Queen of England. What an honor. Tell us something about that.
Well, thank you. I got that in 2005. And actually, when I went to receive the award, they said that we are giving this to you for promoting Anglo-Pakistan relations, women's rights, intellectual property rights, because I was a big sort of flag bearer of intellectual property rights. I felt that, people cannot pirate or plagiarize.
But intellectual property rights for the
for authors.
Okay, ताकि वो piracy.
Gee, because books get pirated, they don't get any royalties, so they get no income. And then they said, we are giving it to you for democracy. So I was puzzled. I said, why democracy? What have I done for democracy? They said, all the books that you have published have created a sort of spread of knowledge and a debate in the country. For example, we had published books on East Pakistan, the separation of East Pakistan.
Okay.
And there were some really new insights that these books that brought out. And actually a debate was generated. So they said, this is a part of democracy.
Okay.
So I was actually humbled by that.
Achha, I'd like to ask a bit of a edgy question, a little bit of a controversial question, but I think you're the right person for that. ऐसा क्यों है कि हमारे जो कोर्स बुक्स हैं, अब चाहे वो PST पाकिस्तान स्टडीज़ की हो या इंग्लिश की हो, kids somehow don't get the real picture there about history. और अभी आपने ईस्ट पाकिस्तान की बात की, तो nowhere in the books we get to understand what actually happened. Why did we lose East Pakistan and West? मतलब what was the reason कि हमारा ये बाजू हमसे अलग हुआ? The politics, the friction. क्या हुआ? Nobody gets to know the reality in the textbooks only. Why is it so covered?
Well, unfortunately, especially the official textbooks that are published by the textbook boards, they just they contain the official narrative.
What possible good comes out of hiding the truth?
Can you imagine? I mean, they say that it happened because of India. India caused it to happen. Which is, not the real
truth.
cause.
No.
But I think it's very sad. But in the textbooks that I published on history, we have mentioned that the actual reasons to a large extent. But unfortunately, children in government schools have to read these textbook board books.
I think private schools as well. बिकॉज कोर्स तो वही फॉलो करा रहे हैं. अब अगर ओ लेवल्स पे हम करा रहे हैं बच्चों को, तो जो किताबें हैं उसमें वो सच्चाई तो नहीं है उस तरह से, स्पेशली पाकिस्तान स्टडीज़ की जो किताबें हैं. एंड दैट इज़ समथिंग रियली पेनफुल कि हमारी जनरेशन्स ऑफ चिल्ड्रन जो हैं, बच्चे जो हैं, वो दे आर ग्रोइंग अप विद समथिंग दैट इज़ नॉट एग्जैक्टली द ट्रूथ एंड दे डोंट नो. I mean, we don't know our history, and we are sending out जो खेप है students की into the world with lackness in history.
Absolutely. And that is so important. And actually now I find that, yes, I think some of the private school textbooks are also, because, you know, there is this sense in even a lot of private schools that they have to teach history in order to make it acceptable to parents or whatever, that they don't come out with the full truth, which is very sad. However, I think the good thing is that now because of because of social media, and I think the world has opened up. It's now difficult to cover up. Children
kahin na kahin se you get to know the truth.
And I think that is something that we have to teach our children. You see, if we just give them a book and say that, look, read this book and you'll get all your knowledge from that, that's not enough. We have to expose them to every source of knowledge, whether it is newspapers, books, magazines, literature
festival. This I was about to come on that कि literature festival में या अदब festival में या बच्चों का जो आपने children's festival जिसकी बुनियाद आपने रखी है, वहाँ पे there are lots of literary people coming, all these authors and big names in the world of literature. तो वहाँ बच्चों को जा कर के उनसे मिलवाना, and वो मतलब it is such a pleasant experience. I go to every KLF with my children, with my students, since KLF has started. So and I make sure that my children and my students, मेरे relatives वहाँ जाएं, वहाँ पे मुज़ाकरे सुने, जो discussions हो रहे हैं, जो panel discussions हो रही हैं,
बिल्कुल,
and लोगों से मिले वहाँ. अमजद इस्लाम अमजद अब नहीं रहे, मगर वहाँ मिल जाते थे. मुस्तनसर हुसैन तारड़, जब तक उनकी सेहत अच्छी थी, he would visit these places.
I used to invite him regularly.
वो आते भी थे माशाल्लाह से. अनवर मकसूद साहब, मतलब वहाँ मिल जाते हैं ऐसे लोग. तो अपने बच्चों से ये चलते फिरते नॉलेज के मतलब ये पूरी किताबें हैं.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल,
आप इनसे मिले हो वहाँ किताबों का. अच्छा, एक बात और अमीना आपा मुझे महसूस होती है, जैसे बच्चे हमेशा अट्रैक्ट होते हैं टुवर्ड्स मिस्ट्री and something that is intriguing to them. J.K. Rowling की किताब हैरी पॉटर became the best seller अचानक से, and इतनी generations हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि वो पढ़ती भी आ रही हैं, और अभी भी people are interested. हमारे यहाँ कोर्सेज के अंदर स्कूल्स में अक्सर ये आता है कि जी कोई किताब लगी है, हाउंड्स ऑफ बास्केटबॉल्स फॉर एग्जांपल, ठीक है, सर आर्थर कॉनन डॉयल, एंड उसका अब्रिज्ड वर्जन ले लें.
अच्छा, ठीक
है. या चार्ल्स डिकेंस को पढ़ने के बजाय अगर कोई अब्रिज्ड वर्जन पढ़ रहा है तो फिर चार्ल्स डिकेंस को तो नहीं पढ़ा ना उसने. तो ऐसा लगता है कि बिकॉज ऑफ syllabus is asking students to buy these abridged versions, suddenly students have stopped reading altogether. Since हमने उसको एक सिलेबस का हिस्सा बना के उसको टेस्टिंग और उसके ऊपर वो करिकुलम कवरेज और स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड उसके ऊपर हमने वो थप्पा लगा दिया, कॉम्प्रहेंशन आएगा, तो लोगों ने किताबें पढ़ना छोड़ दी. लोगों ने क्या, बच्चों ने, और वही बच्चे अब बड़े हो रहे हैं. So what's your take on that?
Well, actually I feel that there is no harm in that, because I feel that these stories, I mean, I remember as a child, I tried to read Shakespeare. I couldn't understand the English, the Shakespearean language.
Okay.
And, I gave up. I stopped reading it. But now you can read Shakespeare, which is simplified. I mean, even Dickens. Children might find it difficult to read Dickens that, in its entirety. So I think that it's, if you let them read simplified versions of these books when they're too young to read the full versions, I think it will create an appetite in them for the full book when they're older. So it's a kind of an introduction. You know, even if the language is not exactly Dickens, but the plot, the characters are, and they become interested, and then they want to read more. So I think at a young age, when they're not able to read the entire books, I think it's all right.
But then I think the problem lies with the person who is actually conducting these classes or having them teach all these books. अगर उस शख्स को ही इसकी समझ नहीं है कि किस तरह इंट्रोड्यूस कराना है in a simpler version, तो वो तो फिर उनको दूर कर देगा ना उन किताबों से ही altogether. Because I remember, I will not take the name of the school, when I was in grade 6, we got great expectation in our course to read.
Okay.
And simplified, abridged version. And my teacher said कि ऐसा करो कि रीड द होल बुक एंड क्योंकि मैं अंग्रेज़ी में बहुत कमज़ोर थी कि तुम ये इसके पीछे 40 सवाल दिए हैं, ये कर लो और इसके कैरेक्टर स्केचेस कर लो और समरी कर दो. सो आई वॉज मोर इनटू अटेम्प्टिंग दोज क्वेश्चंस एंड राइटिंग दोज समरीज एंड कैरेक्टर स्केचेस रादर देन एक्चुअली रीडिंग द बुक.
Absolutely.
तो वो मेरे लिए तो एक असाइनमेंट बन गया और मेरे लिए वो एक टास्क था कि अगर मैं ये कर लूँगी तो मुझे अंग्रेज़ी में पास होने के नंबर मिल जाएंगे. मेरी अंग्रेज़ी कमज़ोर थी और मैंने वो कहानी इतने शौक़ से नहीं पढ़ी, तो एसेंस तो मेरा वही रह गया कि आई डिड नॉट रीड. वो बाद में क्योंकि द एनवायरनमेंट इन माई हाउस होल्ड वॉज कि अब्बा ने हमें ब्रिटिश काउंसिल का मेंबर बना दिया और हम वहाँ से किताबें, वो ज़माने में एक्चुअली यू हैड टू टेक अ कार्ड टू द ब्रिटिश काउंसिल एंड दे वुड इशू यू 4 books, द गुड ओल्ड डेज.
That's right, yes.
तो वो फिर अब्बा का शौक़ था और अम्मी का शौक़ था, तो वो हम किताबें लाने लगे. बट अदर देन दैट मेरे टीचर ने तो कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ी थी मुझे मुतनफ़िर करने में किताब पढ़ने से. बिकॉज by the order of my teacher, as I was weak in English, I was to do those 40 questions and I was guaranteed a passing mark in the exam. So I was reading for passing the exam. तो मैं इसके ऊपर परेशान हूँ rather than developing a love for reading.
Absolutely.
So this is a curse, I think, in standardized or conventional teaching and methodologies और pedagogies आप जो भी कह लें, कि वो फिर बच्चे पढ़ने से दूर हो जाते हैं.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. अगर वो आपको बस किताब दे देती कि पढ़ो, इसको enjoy करो, you would have been able to read that English, you would have been able to follow the storyline and enjoyed it.
Yes.
And actually, you know, after that you would have read a second book and a third book.
Yes.
And this kind of rapid reading
would have
really,
ultimately improved my English anyway.
Absolutely. You know, I often say, people say that, you know, you have to learn grammar to speak correct English. And I said, no, you have to read correct English and listen to correct English.
Please say that again, because I know so many people who are after their kids, grammar nahi aati. Look, listen from the people who know, listen from the gurus, the divas of English. Please say that again, Ameena.
Well, I'm just saying that, you know, grammar is learnt instinctively by reading correct English, by listening to correct English, not by learning the rules of grammar. And, you know, instinctively, when you have read a lot of good English, and then if you read something that is not grammatical, you will know it's not grammatical.
So it's basic is reading.
Absolutely.
Love for reading and reading books, reading anything that comes to your mind, to your hand. बच्चों को किताबें पढ़वाएं, KLF में लेके जाएं, अदब फेस्टिवल में लेके जाएं, चिल्ड्रंस लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल होता है वहाँ लेके जाएं, बुक फेयर होता है अभी होने वाला है, वहाँ लेके जाएं, उनको वो environment दें जहाँ they are surrounded by books instead of buying a branded जोड़ा और some other. I'm sorry, मैं इस तरह की sensitive बात कर जाती हूँ, but this is how I feel कि हम जो priorities set कर देते हैं बच्चों के सामने, फिर वो उसी को follow करते हैं कि that is important and this is not. So if books and writing and learning and meeting people who are talking about books is important to the parents, it will ultimately become important to the kids as well.
Absolutely. You know, we have to set an example for our children. If we are spending our time watching television or watching films, they will learn that. So we have to spend our time reading at home, or if somebody has a birthday and we have to buy a present, we go to a bookshop and buy it. And And as you said that, instead of buying expensive toys or designer clothes, spend your money on books.
True.
As much as possible.
अमीना आपा फ्रांस ने आपको नाइट ऑफ आर्ट एंड लिटरेचर लेटर्स का खिताब दिया. प्लीज टेल अस अबाउट दैट.
Well, actually, that was also very kind of them. They gave it to me for starting the movement of literature festivals in Pakistan. The first literature festival that I organized was in 2010.
2010.
When, no such thing was known over
Nothing
here.
was happening in Karachi like that.
And now I've organized about 25 in Karachi,
Mashallah.
in Islamabad, and in London. In June, I had a literature festival.
You also have Lahore literature festival.
There is, well, actually, now I don't do it in Lahore, but a friend of mine does it. But when I had the first literature festival with Dr. Asif Farooqi, who very sadly passed away.
Yes, a gem of a person.
Gem of a person. So we announced when we had the festival, people would somebody would come call me from Peshawar, and they would say, we'll make all the arrangements. We have our literature festival in Peshawar. Somebody asked me to have it in Multan. So I told them, I said, look, I can't do it all over Pakistan. You do it. And I will help you, any technical support. So Asif Farooqi and I, we announced that our literature festival is open source. Anyone can copy it. Anyone can take any content from it.
Mashallah.
And organize their own.
Subhanallah, amazing.
And, the idea was that it should become a movement.
This is a legacy.
And, now it's happening in Quetta, Larkana, Gotki.
So who are these
Peshawar.
people who latch on to these ideas?
Well, these are people actually who attended our festivals. And they felt that, if it's happening in Islamabad, why can't it happen in Peshawar? And they liked it. And I remember that, we got a busload of people from Gilgit who traveled for 26 hours to Islamabad to attend our festival.
Amazing. Mashallah,
because they were so happy and so thrilled. And my purpose was to get people reading. And I must tell you a quick story about this.
Please.
In my festival here in Karachi, one of the speakers was Faqir Ejazuddin, who speaks really lovely English. And he was on the stage and he was talking. And then the session finished and they said, question and answers. So I was standing at the back. And a little hand went up, little boy who was standing there. So I was hoping that he would be asked, but he didn't get a chance. They have 2 or 3 questions. So then I told him, I said, Beta, what question did you want to ask? You tell me, I'll pass on your question. He said, he told me in Urdu, he said, मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे आप अंग्रेजी बोल रहे थे, ऐसे मैं कैसे सीख सकता हूँ? ऐसे अंग्रेजी बोल. So, it created this aspiration in this child to learn English. And I was so moved. But I felt that, he's got this kind of exposure here by coming here.
True. Exposure to immense hai. And as I said, all these literary festivals are a breath of fresh air in Karachi. And मुझे साल नहीं याद था, अमीना आपा ने साल बता दिया 2010, and I said, मैंने कहा कि मैं जब से ये start हुआ, we've been going there. We make it a point कि we visit and we go to these festivals. And believe me, वहाँ जाने के बाद जो बच्चों में learning और एक aspiration जैसे आपने कहा महसूस होती है, meeting people walking around whom we see on the screen, जो कि हमें लगता है अरे ये तो बहुत बड़े लोग हैं, वो हमें वहाँ मिल जाते हैं, उनसे हम उनके साथ तस्वीरें खिंचवा सकते हैं. Just being in the company of such dignitaries and writers and authors and good speakers is education itself. अमीना पर ये बताएं कि KLF in Karachi 2010 से पहले कराची के हालात politically बहुत अनस्टेबल थे. एंड आई एम श्योर 2010 में ये आपने इसको मंजर आम पे किया KLF को, लेकिन जब आपने सोचना शुरू किया होगा KLF के बारे में तो ये और भी पहले होगा. तो उस वक्त आपको खौफ महसूस नहीं होता था कि क्या होगा?
वैसे हालात तो वाकई बहुत ख़राब थे। 2009 में मैंने सोचना शुरू किया था और कराची में वाकई हालात
उस ज़माने में बहुत बुरे थे।
तो लेकिन हमने पूरा अपना इंतज़ाम किया था सिक्योरिटी का और हर चीज़ का। आई रिमेंबर एट वन ऑफ द फेस्टिवल्स वी हैड 3 layers ऑफ सिक्योरिटी, क्योंकि उस ज़माने में इंडिया से बहुत लोग आते थे। अब तो खैर बंद हो गया है। तो हमने सिक्योरिटी अपनी तरफ कर ली थी, लेकिन फिर भी बहुत मुश्किलात पेश आई थी। और मुझे याद है कि एक फेस्टिवल में अंग्रेज़ कुछ जर्नलिस्ट आए थे और उन्होंने लिखा, आई थिंक द इंडिपेंडेंट अखबार है यूके का, उसमें लिखा कराचीज़ आंसर टू बॉम्ब्स इज़ बुक्स। सो आई थॉट दैट वाज सच अ कॉम्प्लीमेंट,
बहुत बड़ा कॉम्प्लीमेंट। कराचीज़ आंसर टू बॉम्ब्स इज़ बुक्स,
क्योंकि उस ज़माने में वाकई बम फट रहे थे।
सीरियसली वो बहुत तकलीफदेह साल थे।
तकलीफदेह वो था।
मतलब ऐसा लगता था कि मतलब कराची हैज़ सीन वर्स। मैं ये बात भी हाईलाइट करना चाहूँगी कि कराची हैज़ सीन वर्स एंड कराचीइट्स हैव बीन थ्रू वर्स, जिसमें कि एक दिन हड़ताल हो रही है और अगले दिन दंगा हो रहा है और अगले दिन फसाद हो रहा है,
सड़कें बंद हैं। और मुझे याद है इंडिया से कुछ आए थे डेलीगेट स्पीकर्स, तो उसी ज़माने में वही कोई बम फटा था, सड़कें बंद हो गई थी। तो अब ये इन स्पीकर्स को एयरपोर्ट जाना था, कैसे इनको एयरपोर्ट में भेजें, ये इन हालात में जाना ज़रूरी है। तो वी एक्चुअली हायर्ड दोज कार्स, बॉम्ब प्रूफ एंड बुलेट प्रूफ कार्स, टू टेक देम टू द एयरपोर्ट। तो प्रॉब्लम्स तो बहुत होते थे, बट somehow we managed. But I must tell you a very funny story.
Please.
In one of our festivals, क्योंकि मैं घूमती रहती थी कि कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं हुआ, मैंने देखा कि एक बड़ा सा क्राउड जमा है फेस्टिवल में और वो एक तरफ जा रहा है क्राउड।
आउच।
तो मैं समझी कि कहीं स्टैम्पीड ना हो जाए,
रेड अलर्ट।
तो मैंने सोचा आई बेटर गो एंड कॉल सिक्योरिटी। फिर मैंने सोचा कि देख तो लूँ ये क्या। जब मैं क्राउड के पास गई तो मैंने देखा बीच में अमर जलील, जो सिंधी राइटर, वो अपने स्टेज से ऑथर्स लाउंज में जा रहे थे एंड दीज वर हिज फैंस।
फैन फॉलोइंग हो रही थी। अच्छा हाँ।
तो मुझे लगा कि क्योंकि मैं हमेशा ये कहती थी कि आई वांट ऑथर्स टू बिकम रॉक स्टार्स एंड सेलिब्रिटीज। ये लोग कुछ कम नहीं है।
क्या बात।
आई फेल्ट माई ड्रीम्स कम ट्रू because of the way that Amar Jaleel is being followed, and the same with मुस्तनसर तारर। जब भी वो कहीं जाते थे हमारे फेस्टिवल्स में तो हुजूम उनके साथ जाता था।
माशाल्लाह। देखिए ये होता है कि ख्वाब अगर आप देखें और उसकी ताबीर के लिए कोशिश करते रहें तो इंशाल्लाह वो ज़रूर पूरे होते हैं। एंड आई एम श्योर कि इस पूरे सफ़र में अमीना आपा को बहुत स्ट्रगल्स करनी पड़ी होंगी, बहुत सारे हिंड्रेंसेस आए होंगे। अमीना आपा, कोई ऐसी बात आपको याद है जहाँ आपको लगता हो कि दैट वाज वन ऑफ द वर्स्ट थिंग्स दैट कुड हैव हैपेंड, बट थैंक गॉड अल्लाह की मदद रही एंड थिंग्स वेंट स्मूथली?
Well, actually there were so many.
You must have a list.
I mean, some of the books that I published.
उसके ऊपर कोई अप्रोर हुआ?
हाँ, उस पर अप्रोर बहुत हुआ। और काफ़ी मैं डर भी गई थी। Sometimes, I actually had to stop going to office. एक दफ़ा तो मुझे पूरा ऑफिस एक हफ्ते के लिए बंद करना पड़ा।
Seriously? What happened?
We had published some books which somehow upset a certain part of society, and they sent us threatening notes, threatening messages. So I contacted the police कि देखिए ये हमारे पास, कह लें आप फ़ौरन दफ्तर बंद करें। और ये वही ज़माना था जब बम फट रहे थे, और आप लोग अभी दफ्तर मत जाएं। और फिर उसके बाद दे एक्चुअली सेंट सिक्योरिटी टीम ओवर, जो ने पूरा हमारे ऑफिस को सिक्योर किया। खिड़कियों में वो लगाए फिल्म कि अगर कुछ एक्सप्लोजन हुआ तो ग्लास ना फैले। दे डिड थिंग्स लाइक दैट।
ओके।
लेकिन एक तो बहुत ही बुरा इंसिडेंट हुआ था किसी, अगेन ओवर सम बुक, जो कोई नाराज़ हो गया। फॉर्चुनेटली आई वाज़न्ट इन कराची, बट माई कार वाज पार्क्ड in the compound of the office, and somebody tried to attack the car. So there were, but you know, those are very bad times in
वो
Karachi.
था ज़माना कराची
वो ज़माना ही
का,
ऐसा था.
बहुत तकलीफ दे ज़माना था.
लेकिन माशाल्लाह कारवान चलता रहा.
That passed.
हम लोग आगे बढ़ते रहे.
हाँ, मुझे यही लगता है कि हर बुरे ज़माने में, तकलीफ़ के दौर में, और इंसान, मतलब हम लोग कराची वाले बड़े हिम्मत वाले लोग हैं. हम ये कहते हैं दिस टू शैल पास, एंड इट डज. और जब भी मैंने कहा था कि यू नीड टू हैव ट्रू ग्रिट, इफ़ यू हैव अ ड्रीम देन ट्रू ग्रिट इज़ ऑल्सो रिक्वायर्ड. Ameena, but let's move towards Adab Festival, which is inshallah happening in November.
जी, 25th and 26th of November in Karachi at Habit City.
Inshallah.
Which
We
is
all want
Tipu Sultan Road.
everybody to come and visit Adab Festival. अपने बच्चों के साथ आइए, अपनी families के साथ आइए. Do come and visit Adab Festival.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Adab Festival. How did you come up with this idea? KLF के साथ एक Adab Festival. तो again, आपका क्या इसके पीछे conceptual idea?
Well, I feel that, you know, one should move on. And I had done KLF, I think about 9 of them. Then I did about 5 in Islamabad. And then I left OUP. So, but I was so attached to literature festivals that I felt that, you know, I have to have one. So I started the other festival.
Okay.
I changed it a little bit.
How so?
Well, for example, we had more performances in those, more dramatic readings, more music. And we tried to combine just to make it, you know, to draw a bigger crowd.
Okay.
And I think
Different age groups.
different
also.
age groups. And we introduced the children's section,
Okay.
which was very popular.
हाँ.
A lot of storytelling for children, a lot of singing and music. And actually, it you know, the first one that we had was in 2019. Asif Farooqi and I. Then we had one in 2020. 2021 was COVID, so but then we had an online festival in 2021.
Okay.
And then we had one in 2022. So this is actually now on the 25th and 26th of November in Karachi at Habit Center. This is our 5th
Mashallah.
Adab Festival.
Mashallah.
And I'm very proud to say that we, in 2021, when we did the online festival, we collaborated with the British Literature Festival, known as the Bradford
Okay.
Literature Festival, and we put it up jointly. This
Okay.
festival.
That's an achievement. I mean,
That was the first time that there was collaboration.
okay.
And in the process, we actually trained 9 young women to organize their own festivals, because, you know, we feel we have to make it sustainable and we have to spread this kind of a skill to
Mashallah,
organize festivals.
mashallah.
So we trained them online,
Okay.
and we gave them 90 hours of training. This was supported by the British Council. So these young women, I think 5 in Pakistan and 4 in the UK. And then we asked them to, you know, jointly organize online festivals. We taught them the whole process of how you invite people and how you raise funds for it. And, you know, one of these young women was from Bhakkad, one was from Chitral.
Really? I thought they were all from Karachi or Lahore.
Oh, no, just one was from Karachi.
Acha, the Bhakkad is
So,
a place not
yes.
very known, and you said Chitral.
Chitral, yes. So, again, the idea is that that's the only way that these festivals can go on. I mean, we are not here forever. So, you know, it has to
Amazing, mashallah.
be passed
Subhanallah.
on.
Mashallah, amazing. This is more power to you, Ameena.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
May this work and this legacy go on and benefit Pakistan in times to come, inshallah.
Well, it is because people like you attend these and then you bring your family and students and friends. That's what makes them successful.
Indeed, indeed. And in festivals में जाके when जब मैं बच्चों को लेकर के जाती थी अपने स्टूडेंट्स को, हम इसको बाकायदा अपने स्कूल में एक होमवर्क असाइनमेंट बनाते थे
अच्छा,
कि you have to go and visit KLF. I remember when Talha and Saad were young students in our school, तो इन लोगों को बाकायदा नोटिस स्कूल गए थे
अच्छा
कि आप KLF जाएं और वहाँ विज़िट करें और वहाँ जो ऐसी पर्सनालिटीज़ हैं, राइटर्स हैं, ऑथर्स हैं, उनके साथ तस्वीरें लेके उसका एक कंपाइल करके वीडियो और स्कूल आके शेयर करें. दैट वाज देयर होमवर्क.
How lovely. Such innovative, creative work.
तो ये हमने असाइनमेंट्स के तौर पे, इसी तरह बुक फेयर्स जो हो रहे हैं कराची में, वहाँ जाएं, कराची ये चिल्ड्रन फेस्टिवल में जाएं, और इंशाल्लाह अदब फेस्टिवल के लिए विल डू द सेम. तो मुझे एक छोटा सा एक ख्याल आता था, खौफ आता था कि पता नहीं बच्चे क्या करेंगे, जाएंगे नहीं जाएंगे, बोर तो नहीं होंगे. बट आई वुड ऑलवेज गेट अ वेरी पॉजिटिव फीडबैक.
Really?
एंड दे वुड ब्रिंग बैक, दे वुड बी बबलिंग विद इंफॉर्मेशन. हम मिस उनसे मिले, मिस वो, और जिनको वो नहीं भी जानते थे तो उनके पेरेंट्स जानते थे, तो उनसे वो उनको मुतारिफ कराया. एंड लवली एक्सपीरियंस, एंड वी आर रियली ग्रेटफुल to you and your team and whoever is with you in this project के कराची को ये तोहफ़ा मिला आप लोगों की तरफ से 2010 में, और अब 2019 से आप कह रही हैं
अदब
फेस्टिवल के ऊपर काम चल रहा है. और उसके 5 सेशंस आप
5 हमने किए थे ऑनलाइन फेस्टिवल में. अब हमारे कोई 25 सेशंस होंगे.
ओके.
2 दिन, 2 सेशंस होंगे.
कितने अदब फेस्टिवल हो चुके हैं?
अच्छा, 5. ये 5वां है.
ये 5वां है.
जी हाँ.
तो कराची के लिए बेहतरीन तोहफ़ा है, एंड वी नीड मोर ऑफ सच. अब आप कह रहे हैं आपने लोगों को ट्रेन कर दिया है, और तो वी गोइंग टू सी इट ऑल ओवर पाकिस्तान इंशाल्लाह, एंड दैट इज़ समथिंग वेरी होपफुल फॉर पाकिस्तान. और मैं इस प्लेटफॉर्म से इस वक्त के बाद उन लोगों को ज़रूर कहना चाहूँगी कि प्लीज़ ये मत कहें कि पाकिस्तान रहने की जगह नहीं है. पाकिस्तान इज़ अ लवली प्लेस. यहाँ काम करने वाले मौजूद हैं. आप मेरे साथ बैठे हुए हैं, 80 की दहाई से काम कर रहे हैं और अभी तक कर रहे हैं और कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं. क्या ख्याल है अमीना आपा?
बहुत लोग हैं पाकिस्तान में
काम करने वाले,
और मैं तो कहती हूँ कि ये लोग इतनी खिदमत इनकी है पाकिस्तान के लिए, जो इतना काम कर रहे हैं. मैं मतलब इतने नाम है कि मैं कैसे लूँ सारे नाम. इनकी वजह से हमारा मुल्क चल रहा है और इंशाल्लाह चलेगा और कामयाब होगा
इंशाल्लाह.
और ये कहना कि हम मुल्क छोड़ दें, ये तो कोई बात नहीं,
बेकार बात है. यहाँ जब हम वो जैसे वो है ना, नाच न जाने आंगन टेढ़ा, कि जब हम खुद कुछ नहीं कर पाते हैं तो हम कहते हैं कि जी ये तो जगह ही बेकार है. करके तो देखो, रिस्पांस मिलेगा, कभी ना भी मिले, लेकिन उम्मीद हाथ से नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
अमीना पर कोई ऐसी बात जो आप यंग विमेन और इवन जस्ट ऑल विमेन, अगर कोई अपना ख्वाब लेके उतरते हैं मैदान में और करना चाहें और स्ट्राइव करना चाहें और प्रोग्रेसिव होना चाहें अपनी फील्ड में, तो एनी वर्ड्स ऑफ विजडम दैट you'd like to share for those women, any पैगाम?
Well, actually I feel that the most important thing is not to lose hope.
Not to lose hope.
And to be prepared. I mean, don't feel that it's easy, but it's possible. And of course there'll be a lot of obstacles, a lot of barriers, but they can be overcome. And at our other festival in November, in 2 months from now, we have a session called Power Women of Pakistan.
All right.
And we have invited women who have really achieved something, and we want them to talk about their journeys. And I feel that, again, the whole idea is to inspire other young women. And also, I mean, never give up. Don't lose hope. Don't give up. You have to continue regardless of, and then inshallah, it works out.
It works out. So the words of wisdom from Ameena Appa, who's been there, done that, and achieved, mashallah say. Last but not least, Ameena Appa, I'd like to talk about Nafisa Phuphi, your mother.
जी.
A real woman of substance, beautiful person. जहाँ जाती थी पॉजिटिविटी बिखेर देती थी. इस एज के लोगों में मैंने देखा था एक अनकंडीशनल लव एंड अनकंडीशनल अप्रिसिएशन जिससे मिल रहे हैं, खुल के मिल रहे हैं, रिगार्डलेस ऑफ देयर स्टेटस, सोशल स्टेटस, और फिर ये कि मेंटेन कर रहे हैं रिलेशनशिप्स को.
बिल्कुल, ये
बहुत बड़ी बात थी. तो उनके बारे में अगर आप कुछ कहना चाहें, हम उनको याद कर रहे हैं इस वक्त. आई रियली मिस हर, आई मिस हर. मुझे याद है खालू जान अक्सर मेरे फादर इन लॉ सुबह सुबह कहते थे, चलो बेटी ज़रा आपा नफीसा क्या हुआ है, और जैसे ही हम जाते थे, आहा एहसान भाई आए हैं, आइए आइए, और वो चाय लाओ, और फिर वो बातें हो रही हैं. हालांकि दे वुड नॉट टॉक मच, बट दे वुड जस्ट लुक एट ईच अदर कि अच्छा मेरे भाई आए हैं. इसी तरह अजरा पुप्पी के यहाँ, राना आपा की जो मदर हैं उनके यहाँ जाना होता था. अक्सर बस इंस्टिंक्ट, चलो बेटी आज नफीसा पुप्पी के यहाँ, नफीसा आपा के यहाँ चलो, आज अजरा आपा के यहाँ चलो.
Ammi used to adore him as a brother.
हाँ.
And well, actually, she's been my inspiration. I have learned so much from her. The most important lesson I've learned from her, again, you know, she worked so hard in, of course, bringing up 7 children, but also the way that she helped them at every stage. But what I really admired about her was her ability and her desire to connect people.
Yes, indeed.
And also, you know, to, if there are any issues or any sort of disagreements,
उनको resolve करवाते,
to resolve those and bring people closer together. She would utilize every possible thing that she could do. She would, of course, if she saw that some family there was some problem, she would rush there and try and help them out, sort them, you know, with her wise counsel. And of course, she would have these annual gatherings of all our relatives.
Yes, the yearly one dish parties, and jiske andar.
And the best thing was, at these one dish parties, she would say that now we are going to have a news event.
Yes.
Every family has to come on the stage and give us news about their family. And I remember the cutest was one of my cousins went up on the stage, one of my nephews, and he said, "My son has passed his Montessori."
All right.
And everybody clapped, and a little 2.5-year-old was standing there.
So that was news for them.
Of course.
तो वो sharing जो थी family के साथ.
That's right. Everybody was thrilled that he's passed his Montessori. He was congratulated by all of us.
देखिए ना, वो एक highlight मिलना. अब ये पहले खानदानों में, अक्सर और भी खानदानों में होता होगा, हम तो अपने खानदान में ये देखते चले आ रहे थे कि वंडिश हो रही है और मिलना हो रहा है और किसी की खुशखबरी और किसी की कारकर्दगी और वो सब शेयर हो रहा है, तो एक कनेक्टेडनेस का एहसास होता था.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
अब वो हम हर चीज़ व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे कर रहे होते हैं, तो वो एक अजीब सतही सा लगता है. एंड वो मिल के साथ बैठ के जो बात होती थी, बहुत खूबसूरत था. और ये हमारे बड़ों की मीरास थी. एंड आपने अभी रिसेंटली किया भी था.
जी जी, इंशाल्लाह इरादा है, हर साल करेंगे
इंशाल्लाह. वक्त हमारे पास कलील है और हम बातें बहुत सारी कर सकते हैं. वी कैन सिट एंड टॉक एंड लिसन टू अमीना आपा फॉर एजेस. शी हैज़ स्टोरीज टू टेल. बट थैंक यू सो मच अमीना आपा फॉर कमिंग.
थैंक यू सारा फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी एंड फॉर योर वंडरफुल क्वेश्चंस.
अरे बस
रियली एंजॉयड.
मुझे बहुत कुछ आपसे सीखने को मिला, और आई एम श्योर द पीपल हु आर वॉचिंग एंड लिसनिंग, उनको भी महसूस हुआ होगा. इन द एंड आई वुड लाइक टू रिपीट one message through the good side, jahan we meet people, amazing people who make Pakistan, that Pakistan is a land of opportunities.
Absolutely.
यहाँ पे सबको वो मिल सकता है जो वो चाहते हैं. सिर्फ इस बात का एहसास करना ज़रूरी है कि हम चाहते क्या हैं, हमें क्या चाहिए.
And it's our only home, and we have to look after it.
हमारी मट्टी है, हम वहीं पे हमारा ख़मीर भी है, हमारी मट्टी भी यही है, और हमें यहीं से वो सब इज़्ज़त और दौलत और वो कमालात मिल सकते हैं. हमें कहीं जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. पाकिस्तान इज़ अ वंडरफुल प्लेस. रेहान भाई, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग दिस प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे हम लोगों से मिलते हैं. साद एंड तलहा, थैंक यू फॉर मोटिवेटिंग me to do this podcast. And again, Ameena Appa, wonderful conversation with you.
Thank you, Sarah. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Adab. Jazakallah khair for watching this video. And if you want to watch more videos like this, please subscribe our channel on the right or the left side. I'm confused. And keep watching. Thank you so much.